Welcome to our YouTube channel. Buckle up, it's gonna get weird. Now brace yourself for a theory that, really blurs the line between myth and science. What if the ancient war described in the Mahabharata, one of India's greatest epics, was not just poetic fiction, but actually a nuclear war? Let's explore astonishing, mind-blowing, and scientific facts and numbers behind this explosive idea, and discover why some researchers and ancient astronaut theorists believe the Mahabharata may be hiding the secrets of advanced ancient technology and possibly even atomic devastation. Descriptions of weapons sound eerily modern. The Mahabharata speaks of weapons like the Brahmastra, which created a blazing flame brighter than 1,000 suns, an exact match for descriptions of a nuclear explosion. Now imagine this, but worse. So there was this phenomenon of instant vaporization, and the only thing left behind were these eerie shadows on the walls. It actually describes people who were, instantly incinerated, leaving behind only their shadows on the ground, just like what happened in Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945. And then, there's this detail about hair and nails falling out, which is, a classic sign of radiation sickness. After the use of divine weapons, survivors experience symptoms like, hair and nails falling off. These symptoms actually match the acute radiation sickness seen in modern nuclear victims. There have been discoveries of glassified sand in some ancient cities, which is honestly pretty intriguing. In places like MohenjoDaro, which is in modern-day Pakistan, archaeologists have found layers of vitrified sand, basically, sand that's fused into glass under extreme heat. The temperatures needed for this are, probably higher than 1,500 degrees Celsius. That's the kind of heat only a nuclear blast or maybe a meteor impact could explain. So, skeletons were found with high radiation levels. In Mohenjo-Daro, several ancient human skeletons were discovered with unusually high radiation levels, which are, still measurable after thousands of years. There are magnetic anomalies in the ruins, interestingly enough. The same region has shown magnetic disturbances hinting at intense bursts of electromagnetic energy, again consistent with a nuclear event. Craters with no meteor origin. There are massive craters in India, like the Lonar crater in Maharashtra, that resemble impact or explosion zones, but show no traces of meteoric material, leading some to speculate about a blast from above. So, flying machines are actually mentioned in quite a few ancient texts. The Mahabharata and other Vedic texts mention vimanas. These were aerial vehicles used in war, and they were apparently capable of flight, maneuvering, and maybe even firing energy-based weapons. Could these have been some kind of ancient drones or fighter crafts? It's a fascinating thought. The level of detail in the Mahabharata is, honestly, pretty remarkable. The battle descriptions are so specific, from shockwaves to mushroom clouds, that they really don't read like mythology at all, but more like eyewitness testimony of some kind of extreme warfare. So, there are descriptions of fallout-like conditions, after the weapon was used. After the weapon's use, the Mahabharata actually says the land was sterile and lifeless for years, with contaminated water. This is, a mirror of what we see in radiation fallout zones. Interestingly, there are similar myths in other civilizations too. So, cultures like the Sumerians, Babylonians, and even the Mayans, they all have these tales of gods waging wars with fire from the sky and destructive beams. This kind of suggests a shared, possibly real event in ancient times. But interestingly, no weapons of this kind have ever been found. Skeptics, of course, argue that no remains of such advanced weapons exist. But if these weapons were made of high-energy materials, or maybe they just disintegrated during use, they might leave no trace, just like how nukes don't leave behind conventional wreckage. So the war timeline actually matches an ancient catastrophe. Many estimates, place the Kurukshetra War around 3100 BCE, which is pretty close to global climate anomalies and civilizational collapses, possibly due to, an atmospheric catastrophe. Sanskrit scholars honestly translate with a lot of caution. Some Vedic Sanskrit terms like Shakti Tejas and Agni Astra might, at first glance, be misunderstood as just metaphors. But if you look a little deeper, literal translations of these words actually hint at intense energy, radiation, and heat. Ideas that are, interestingly, consistent with the concept of technological warfare. Could it, rewrite history? If the Mahabharata truly describes a nuclear conflict, it suggests that humanity once achieved technological heights comparable to modern warfare, then collapsed, leaving behind epics instead of data. We do this every day. Hit subscribe to stay curious. Whether it's poetic exaggeration or encrypted truth, the Mahabharata remains one of the most detailed and mysterious ancient records ever written. Could it be that history isn't as linear as we think? Maybe our ancestors weren't just warriors with swords, but scientists with star-powered weapons. Stay curious because mythology may be history wearing a cosmic disguise.